I didn't suddenly become aligned. I didn't feel ahead. I didn't feel behind. I felt correctly placed. I recognised a feeling I hadn't felt in a long time, and that was new. I just stopped fighting what was already true. And when I say that, I don't mean I gave up. I mean I stopped pretending I could think my way out of something that was asking to be felt. Most of the stress I carried for years wasn't because things were falling apart. It was because I was trying to live in ways that no longer fit. Alignment didn't arrive as a celebration. It arrived as a relief. Like putting a heavy bag down and realising you've been carrying it long after you forgot why you picked it up in the first place. I want to start with something simple. Not a belief, not a mindset, not a declaration about where I'm going next. A feeling. Because alignment doesn't feel exciting. It doesn't arrive with fireworks. It doesn't show up shouting your name. It doesn't come with certainty or applause. It comes back the same way it left, quietly. For me, it didn't start in my head. It didn't start as an idea. It started in my body. A calm I hadn't felt in years. Not motivation, not momentum, just a settling. It feels like a sigh, shoulders drop, breath deepens. A sense of rightness that didn't need to be defended or explained. Life hadn't suddenly sorted itself out. The questions were still there. Money, work, relationships. None of that had magically resolved. But something inside me went, oh, there you're there. And when that happens, you realise something uncomfortable. How loud misalignment actually was the whole time. What surprised me was this. I recognised the feeling immediately because I felt it before. My body didn't jump forward when alignment returned. It jumped backwards, straight to a period of my life that on the surface doesn't sound particularly spiritual. Hospitality. Long shifts, late nights, busy rooms, constant interaction. Not an obvious place to look for alignment. But looking back now, it was one of the most aligned periods of my life. Not because of the job title, not because of the pay, not because of the hours, because of how I was in the world. I was switched on, I trusted myself. I wasn't overthinking every interaction. I wasn't managing myself. I wasn't performing an identity. I just showed up as I was. This wasn't an idea. It wasn't a mindset shift. It wasn't a new belief I'd rehearsed enough times to make it stick. It was a sensation. A sense of being where I was meant to be, even though I had no idea what came next. And that's a big thing to realise later in life. That alignment often shows up before you have language for it. I wasn't good at hospitality because I followed systems. I was good because I could feel a room. I could walk in and sense it. Who needed space? Who needed a laugh? Who wanted to talk but didn't quite know how to start? I could end up in deep conversations with complete strangers without trying to steer things anywhere. Not because I was clever, because I was listening properly and I trusted myself. That trust didn't appear out of nowhere. I was alive and life moved with me instead of against me. That's what alignment felt like back then. Not calm, but coherence. That trust didn't disappear when things got louder. Before hospitality, I worked as a club 18 to 30 rep. And if you've ever done that job, you'll know it's chaos. Your literal role is to be everyone's best mate. Hundreds of people, different backgrounds, different insecurities, different expectations, different stages of life. You don't survive that by pretending. You survive it by becoming genuinely interested in people. And you learn very quickly, you can't fake presence. If you try to perform, people feel it instantly. If you're disconnected, they know. So I stopped trying. I got curious instead. And curiosity opens doors no strategy ever will. That's where I learned something I didn't have language for at the time. When you stop trying to be impressive, connection happens naturally. That's alignment in action. I made a decision back then without realising that it was a decision. I chose to live a full life, to try things, to say yes, to travel, to mess things up, to collect stories. Not because I was chasing anything, because I was curious. And here's something I noticed earlier on. When I told a real story, people knew. Not because I said this is true, but because truth has texture. It has details you wouldn't invent, awkward pauses, half-finished thoughts, uncomfortable honesty. The parts you'd leave out if you were trying to impress someone. And when you speak from that place, people feel safe enough to meet you there. That's intuition moving through conversation. That's alignment expressing itself socially. This was the thought that landed fully for the first time. I have enough time. Not in a motivational way, not as a reassurance I had to repeat to believe. It's something that felt already true. And when that belief landed, the pressure I'd been living under became obvious. Time had felt hostile for years, like if I didn't move quickly enough, I'd miss something important or fall behind in a way I couldn't recover from. That feeling disappeared. Time stopped feeling like a countdown, stopped chasing me, stopped cornering me into decisions, or something that was about to run out if I didn't act quickly enough. It stopped pushing me. Instead, it felt neutral. It felt cooperative, even supportive. Like life wasn't demanding answers from me anymore. Like life had taken its foot off my chest. That's alignment. When time stops feeling like an enemy. And that changed my relationship with waiting. Waiting had always felt like failure to me. Like I was doing something wrong by not moving faster. Like life was happening somewhere else and I was lagging behind. And with that shift, waiting changed too. Waiting used to feel unbearable, like proof I wasn't doing enough. Like I was wasting something I couldn't afford to waste. But once urgency lifted, waiting stopped feeling like failure. It became space. I wasn't waiting for something. I was waiting with myself. And that distinction mattered. Because when I look back now, most of the decisions I regret weren't bad ideas. They were rushed ones. Made to escape discomfort. Making movement feel safer than stillness. When that urgency went quiet, the stillness didn't collapse me. It organised me. Like the system had finally stood down, enough to hear itself think. It gave me access to my own intelligence again, my own timing, my own sense of sequence. And that's when I understood this properly. Alignment isn't about speed, it's about consent. Nothing inside you has been forced to move before it's ready. When you're not aligned, time does something strange. It drags and races at the same time. Days feel long, weeks disappear, months pass without memory. And here's the part we don't talk about enough. You don't usually realize you're out of alignment when it happens. There's no dramatic collapse, no explosion, no moment you can point to and say, that's when it all went wrong. Life just loses colour. You keep functioning, you keep being responsible, you keep doing what needs done. But joy leaks out quietly. You stop trusting yourself. You start second guessing instincts that used to feel natural. You begin living slightly against your own grain. And that's what that last chapter of my life was about. Night shift, disconnection, endurance, instead of flow. Exhausted without having actually lived. That's not a time management problem, that's a life orientation problem. And most people never name it, they just assume they're lazy, or behind, or not disciplined enough, when really their soul isn't involved in their days. I was living a life that contradicted my orientation, and the body always knows first. This is one of the clearest truths that landed for me. A life that suppresses purpose eventually suppresses joy. Not just for you, for everyone around you. That's not a motivational quote, that's a lived law. When someone ignores the way they're built, the way their energy wants to move, create, contribute, life doesn't become peaceful, it becomes heavy, dull, restless, draining. You don't become miserable overnight, you become numb. And that numbness leaks outward, into relationships, conversations, energy. Even love can't compensate for that forever. Alignment isn't about chasing ambition, it's about honouring orientation. Some people find peace through stillness and rhythm. Others find peace through movement and creation. Neither is better, neither is wrong. But when you try to live a life that contradicts your orientation, resentment creeps in silently. And eventually, nothing feels right, even when everything looks fine. That's why I couldn't skip the videos I've been making recently. Those videos weren't content, they were acknowledgements. The night shift one, the failure one, the money one, the completion reflection that tied it all together. They were acts of closure. I wasn't trying to relive the past, I was trying to finish it honestly. To say, this mattered, this shaped me, and I don't need to carry it forward anymore. You can't step cleanly into alignment while dragging unfinished weight behind you. It leaks into your voice, into your posture, into your decisions. So I stayed with it. I didn't rush it, even when it was uncomfortable. And slowly, without effort, the pressure started to lift. Here's the insight that really landed. Alignment isn't something you achieve, it's something you remember. That's why so many old teachings pointed inward, not outward, not upward. They weren't saying become something else. They were saying remove what's covering what's already there. Alignment isn't becoming someone new. It's remembering who you were before you learned to abandon yourself. I don't ask myself, what should I do to look like I've got it together? I ask, what feels honest right now? And the answer always arrives, not instantly, but cleanly. That's why it feels familiar when it returns. Your system knows it, even if your mind doubts it. Another realization came with this. Alignment doesn't mean everyone around you will feel comfortable. It means you're no longer betraying yourself. When you step into purpose, something interesting happens. Some people feel inspired, some feel neutral, and some feel unsettled. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your clarity highlights places they're not ready to look at yet. That doesn't make you intense. It doesn't make you selfish. It doesn't make you difficult. It means your nervous system has found its direction. And alignment isn't about shrinking that direction so others can rest. It's about finding a life where your movement doesn't require apology. You don't find alignment by convincing people. You find it by choosing your path anyway. By ending the delay, by letting go of the need for conditions to be perfect, by noticing where you'd been quietly betraying yourself. When you act from who you are instead of who you're trying to keep comfortable, something settles. Not externally, internally. And when the center settles, the noise around it loses its grip. That's alignment. True alignment doesn't chase outcomes. It removes friction. Action feels natural. Discipline becomes identity. Momentum builds quietly. Not because life is easy, but because you're finally rowing in the direction your body was designed for. That's when inspiration flows. That's when consistency becomes possible. So this is alignment, not because everything is sorted, not because I've arrived anywhere special, but because I recognize the feeling again and I trust it. From here, things expand naturally. Movement, bodywork, gym, yoga, real conversations, introducing people I trust. No forcing, no proving, just staying in contact with what's true. If you recognize this feeling, trust it. The moment where something inside you says, oh, I remember this way. Alignment isn't about becoming someone new. It's about stopping the effort of being someone else. And when purpose and identity meet, joy no longer needs to be chased. It becomes a byproduct of living honestly. So guys, Slan Jiva. Ciao.